meteorologist Mark Molnar is your host for the weather show, Weather Northeastern. Let's get right into some viewer sent in photos here. Joe Drehos from the Johnson City, New York area, catching a nice cloud to ground lightning strike across Johnson City near the 201 traffic circle. Very nice capture back on Sunday evening here, Joe Drehos. And I captured some as well here. Take a look at the West Corners, New York area, just west of him near the Endicott, New York area. Take a look at some of this cloud to cloud lightning dancing across the sky, looking west towards Oswego, New York back on Sunday evening. Let's take a look at some weather back from July 14th. Take a look at this Micah Bush capturing a very nice low stormy cloud thunderstorm moving through the near Corning, New York area. And he captured this quite nicely. He says this thunderstorm really shook his house back on July 14th, 2015 here. Now speaking of July 14th, back 11 years ago, Derek Rentschler has something to share with us about a tornado that moved through Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, an F3 tornado that touched down near Campbelltown and Cornwall, where he was living at the time. Now take a look at this radar shot. You can see the reds and the greens, the wind moving at different directions towards and away from the radar site, showing some rotation within this storm. Here's Lebanon County and the north central portion of the screen here. You can see Campbelltown to the west of Cornwall here, and this system traveled right through Campbelltown as an F3 tornado and continued to move just ever so slightly to the north of Cornwall, Lebanon County. So that's where Derek Rentschler was at the time, and quite interesting, he had just got done delivering papers for the Lebanon County newspaper, and take a look. That was very close call on his part here as the storm system moved through back on July 14th, 2004. So this was an F3 with 160 mile per hour winds that was surveyed across this area back 11 years ago on this date. It's always nice to see weather from the past here, and you can see the aerial shot of the damage swath that this tornado took through some pretty prominent neighborhoods here. So there was quite a bit of damage, to say the least, with this tornado. Thank you, Derek Rentschler, for sharing that past storm with us here across the Lebanon County area. You don't see F3 tornadoes in this part of the country very often. Now let's take a look at Lucas D. from Linden, Texas. Take a look at some of these flowers. Some of them look like these orange tiger lily types across the Linden, Texas area. And as you can see, the last photograph here showcasing some nice anvils from some cumulonimbus clouds off in the distance with the sun shining on them. A nice low angle like that gives nice oranges and reds here. And also he has a time lapse of the moon here. Look at this big moon he time lapsed. And also he has a time lapse of some nice cumulonimbus clouds here across the Linden, Texas area. So thank you everyone for sending your photos in. Some very interesting weather has happened during the last several days. Now let's take a look at what we've got going on for the tropics. Not much to report. There's really nothing going on, to say the least. And of course, we've got the precipitation outlook here. We're starting to get some here in the unsettled west here. We're starting to get some troughiness here in the Pacific Northwest, so we'll get some beneficial rains a little bit. It won't put a dent in the drought, but here across the Intermountain West into the plains, especially from Oklahoma on southeastward towards Florida here. This is where we'll see a lion's share of the rain, 2 to 4 inches, just north of Linden, Texas, over towards Oklahoma City, and extending southward down towards the south of Little Rock, Birmingham, Alabama, just south of Atlanta, heading down towards Tallahassee, Florida. Here in the northeast, we'll be drying out with the exception for northern New England, Quebec, and Ontario in Canada. Let's take a look at the pattern across the country. You can see here's that troughiness I was talking about. We've got these little kinks in the jet stream here. It'll keep it unsettled across the north, but at least for 4 or 5 days here in the northeast, at least southern New England into the mid-Atlantic here, we'll start to see some drying. But it's northern New England into southeast Canada where we'll see those impulses of energy moving through as you see these kinks in the jet stream. Let's take a look at the surface maps, and I'll show you where the areas that we'll see a chance of rain and possible thunderstorms each day will primarily be along the Canadian border, the adjacent counties here in northern New England, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, Maine, and even into Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, southern Ontario, southern Quebec here, just north of Toronto as well. Almost every day, temperatures staying into the mid to upper 70s here across the north, even some 60s here in southern Ontario and New Brunswick, and of course, near 80 from southern Susquehanna Valley, southern Allegheny Valley into the Ohio Valley here. Let's take a look at your Thursday. Temperatures pretty much staying the same, although we're getting a little bit cooler up here. We've got some troughiness up here in northern New England. Look at the 60s from Caribou down as far south as Burlington and Montreal, and then 70s across much of the area here, Binghamton, over to Syracuse, and Buffalo. Staying in the mid to upper 70s for your Thursday into Friday. Take a look at this. Chance of rain continuing across the northern Adirondacks, northern White Mountains, into southeast Canada here into Maine as well. And we start to warm things up here towards Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. We're getting up towards the low to mid 80s potentially. But you see temperatures really staying pretty much the same here. Very temperate in the mid to upper 70s across much of the region. And into Saturday, take a look at this. We start to get on the backside of high pressure. Although we do get a system, warm front moving in from the west here, we'll start to see chance of showers across Lake Ontario region. So if you're adjacent to Lake Ontario and Lake Erie and eventually Lake Superior, you could be seeing some showers and thunderstorms later in the day. But look at this, temperatures warming up near 80, towards Harrisburg near 90, and then up to northern New England here, we're still holding tough in the mid to upper 60s, and you head over towards the U.S.-Canadian border northward, that's where we'll stay into the lower 60s. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. Stay tuned. In 10 seconds, I'll have a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark, comments, Twitter at WX Northeastern, and Google Plus at MeteoMark. Here's your 5 days, stretching from Wednesday midpoint all the way through the weekend. Look at this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, mostly sunny skies. It's not till Sunday we see the chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. Look at this. We stay into the mid 70s, mid to upper 70s, near 80, with overnight lows, good sleeping, mid to upper 50s. It's not till Sunday we start to get a little bit more muggier and humid, highs approaching the upper 80s. That'll do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.